Hey, so bienvenida, bienvenido, and wahi. Alright guys, so we're back for part 3 of Cooking Up Conversations Growing Older. And again, guess who I have in the house? Mooch, yes. So today is definitely an unplanned and unofficial video, but we're going to do it anyway. We are about to have ourselves a one-on-one little fish fry. And I'm just like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that part 3 while we're doing that today. So it's very unplanned. If anything goes crazy, anything goes wild, give us grace. We'll be back. We're about to get started on our fish fry. Thanks. All right, Smooth. So, once again, I catch you in the kitchen doing what you do. What you about to cook up today?
I'm just going to do a little bit of flounder and some shrimp. Do a quick fish fry. Nothing major, nothing serious.
Okay, then. Okay, then. So, we're going to do part 3. She's about to get... We got a little bit of seasoning here for the fish. I love flounder. It's the only fish I eat, so that's what we're about to be doing. Some flounder, which is here. She has partially seasoned it up. Real quick, I just want to show what you're doing real quick. So that's the fish. She's partially seasoned it up. And she does shrimp. Family, I do not do shrimp, but that's what she's about to do. And that's what we're getting into today. Some shrimp, some old flounder. We'll go to seasoning. Gonna do a fish fry. Alrighty, so give us a little bit. Let her go ahead and prep. And then also, guys, I guess I could just let you all know that we are going to be, let me get back in frame here, and I hope I'm in frame well enough. We're going to be doing part 3 again. It's going to be the Cooking Up Conversations Growing Older. Realized that when we did part 1 and 2, we kind of stopped right about where I was discussing the last portion of my, well, not even the last portion, I'm still ill today, but the last portion of the medical part, as far as the doctor's appointments, the visits, and all that good stuff. So we're going to wrap it up with that. And we're going to tag it on the YouTube channel so you all will have some nice fancy content to look at. And yeah, that's what we're doing today. Again, not a planned video, so if it goes off the rails, you know why. All right, we're going to let Smooch do what she does. And we will be eating hopefully soon because sis is hungry. Sis is so hungry. Alright, she doing her thing, y'all. She doing her thing. And so let's do a little zoom in. She's over there getting it all together. She probably won't be very talkative until we get to the conversation portion of the video because she is a monster, a beast in the kitchen. And usually I don't interrupt because the concentration is real, family. The concentration is real. So yeah, we will be back. Again, family, nothing too fancy. A few pieces of fish already out. Bam! That was quick. One thing I like about a deep fry, they really move pretty quickly, but very beautiful pieces of flounder. Fancy deck or anything. The patio is the patio. That's the little cooker out there, Spooch out there doing her little thing, throwing it out there. So again, this is so unplanned. So y'all like, okay, this filming is all over the place. It is. But that's the little fryer. Just sit out there on the little table. We getting this shrimp in next. Oh yeah, very seldom go outside. Very seldom use anything outside. But that's it. Got the little grill over there in the corner. Can't even see the grill really. Again, just don't use stuff. I'm such a homebody. Indoors is my thing. But yeah, so we're probably going to film outside, or at least we're going to try it. It is sunny Florida. It's a nice day out, and it's pretty shady. So we will see when we do the conversation portion of today. We will see if we want to be brave enough to do it outdoors in the heat. So yeah, you could tell this was unplanned today, right? But we're going to do it anyway. We'll be back. So I figured just to still get a little bit of content, we'll just... She did that shrimp. I do not eat shrimp. But this is her shrimp. She just seasoned up. We'll get that out there in the fryer soon. And yeah, so we're doing this because remember there was an older video. I'm like, yeah, like our schedule's no longer aligned, so we're not going to be doing a lot of cooking up conversation videos or whatnot, but our schedule's aligned today. That's why it was unplanned. This one over here, supposed to be at work. This one over here is here today. So me being the planner that I am, I'm like, let's do a video. That's where we are. All I can say is, baby, 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 baby. The fish is banging, baby. The fish is fishing today. Like little bitty flounder cutlets, seasoned really well and bomb. So a little story about me. I am not a seafood lover. And also, excuse me, I'm not trying to be rude and eat and chew. But I'm not a seafood lover at all. I just like flounder. Grew up on it. My mother loved black bass, fish, and flounder. It's all I ever ate. All she ever introduced me to. And like my mother, she was not a seafood lover. So I grew right up into that. Oh, this fish is so good. But yeah, we're going to throw some fries together with it. I'm very simple. As an adult, I'm still like that kid, like a cheeseburger, just ketchup on it. Very plain. And that just comes from how I've been all my life. I never really grew out of eating like a child. And then as I get older, I have these now new gastro issues, which also keeps my eating minimized. So for all reasons, I just listed. I don't eat really big. I don't have a huge appetite. And I eat very minimal. But the fish is fishing today. Let's see what Smooch is doing. Where you at? You have your shrimp out there? Mm-hmm. Oh, well. We were going to see what Smooch is doing, but she's on the move. We'll be back. I need you to get all the bags of fish. I have this spot that I frequent in Jacksonville, Florida. 3-hour ride to get some fish. Baby, this fish Smooch just threw out there on that little fryer. It's making me rethink that 3-hour drive to Jacksonville. I may never do it again. Yeah, this fish is like super duper duper good. I hope I'm in frame. If I'm not, I don't even feel bad. Because at the start of the video, I told y'all, unplanned. That means anything can happen. Anything can go on and anything can go wrong. But yeah. I was just tasting the fish because Smooch was like, taste it. I mean, I can't stop eating it. I'll be back. Y'all hear it. Y'all hear it. Y'all hear it. Throwing together a little bit of fries to go with the meal. Top it on off. Alright, so we have some beautiful food prepared already. Again, I hope I'm in frame. This is a little different. Holding the camera and focus it on yourself. Kind of like taking a selfie, but you can see that lens. I cannot see this one. So, yeah, let's just take a look at this lovely golden brown food. Oh, well, okay, I'll figure it out. You know how I am with equipment. I hope it doesn't look that brown and pretty through the lens. But maybe that's just because I can't see that good. But yeah. That's a little shrimp over there in the corner, the shrimpy shrimp. And some fish. So yeah. Fish fries are so quick. Like you just don't have to put a lot into it. Amazing. Okay, let's try this, guys. She said flip the thing so I can see myself. I see myself. Smooch thinks she's smart. Whatever. Anywho. Here in just a little bit, we will be moving into the conversation portion of today. This is weird. Oh, I'm there. So we'll move into the conversation portion of today. And yeah, fish fry just went so quick. It was just like really nothing to film. I guess I could have just kept walking around with the camera on her. But that sister moves. And it just was like, no, I wasn't going to do it. But I think she's wrapping up the fries. Once she wraps up the fries, just because I don't want to be rude and I'm not about negative comments. People talking about, why would you sit down and eat in front of the camera? And, oh my gosh, nobody wants to see you chewing or smacking. We ain't about to do none of that. So we're just going to respectfully eat off camera. And then we'll be back on and finish up part 3 of Cooking Up Conversations Growing Old. Thanks for supporting and watching. We'll be back. So the meal is officially finished. Everything is prepared. I'm going to show y'all all the golden brown food we stuck out there on the deep fryer. And here we go. So we showed you the fish and shrimp. And that go to golden brown fries. Hot out. There it is. We're done. Next time you see us back on camera, we will be wrapping up part 3 of that conversation. Be back shortly. Alright guys, so we are back officially done with our fish fry. Thanks for joining us for that little short unplanned video. Right now we are just going to go ahead and wrap up part 3 talking about growing older. And I think we pretty much just focused on my personal illness that ran through 2021 and 2. And of course I still deal with some issues today, but we're just going to wrap up again from part 2 a portion of that video that talked about a capsule that I had to take. We didn't dig into it too much on that video, so this one you're going to hear all about it. I'm going to kind of let Smooch take over the top of the conversation. Both of our memories are a little bit fuzzy. It's a lot, and it was a few years back, but yeah. I'll just kind of start and let her wrap up. I know I just said I'll let you start, but I'm going to start because I remember I'm going to start because of what I remember, then let you pick up where I probably get a little fuzzy. But we were talking about the fact that I had ulcers. My GI doctor did find ulcers. He determined, or he thought he saw one bleeding ulcer. From that, he wanted me to do further testing to find out if I was doing any internal bleeding anywhere else. So that's what I remember. He found ulcers. He told me that there was a bleeding ulcer, and he wanted to determine if there was any additional internal bleeding based on all of the crazy symptoms that I was having. So I'm going to let Smooch kind of pick up on what he requested, the type of testing he wanted to do, and what happened with all that. Just speak up a little bit louder to make sure they catch you.
Well, the one thing of reason being about the bleeding ulcers also was he wanted to determine why was your blood count so low. So you had to be bleeding someplace else within that it was so drastically low. So he did see one bleeding ulcer, and then he had you swallow a capsule, which is called it's an endoscopy. It's an endoscopy capsule, and what it does is it travels down and it goes through your intestines, and then that way they can see if there are any other bleeders within your digestive tract or your intestines.
And I just want to say that when she speaks about the endoscopy capsule, it wasn't just a capsule, it was a camera.
Yeah.
It was a camera. So I'm just going to insert right there because this is the part again I remember. She know what he called it. She know what he was going to do, and she know what I was having done. I remember laying on the table, and these jokers brought me the capsule. And I'm a clown when it comes to medical things. I'm nervous and I'm freaking out, and then there's moments where I just kind of like chill, and I'm kind of real comical with staff just to ease my mind. So I'm laying there on the gurney table, whatever they call it, bed, and they bring the capsule over. I mean, it's kind of weird. It's almost like if you're home in the bed and somebody's bringing you Tylenol for a headache or something for your stomach. They're bringing it to me in the bed, and I'm like, wow, what is that? This literally looked like a capsule. We all have taken some type of medication or giving it to somebody else. It literally was like a capsule, something on this end, something on that end, fused together, capsule. The unique thing about it was black and clear. I would say white, but it was clear. The clear part literally looked like some psychedelic stuff. So when I looked at it, I'm like, what is that? And they're like, oh, this is the camera that you're going to swallow. And I think at that point I was like, I don't remember you all saying it was a camera. I'm swallowing a camera? Yeah, that's what he's going to put down there so he can see what he needs to see. I'm like, wow. Wow. I don't know if I was doped up at that time or not, but I was being really silly. And I remember saying, I feel like I'm about to enter into a sci-fi movie. And I'm just having staff crack up laughing. So that's the part she wasn't in the back for. So I wanted to insert the little part. The camera capsule was really funky. It literally was dark or like black on one side, clear on the other side, and the clear part looked like it had like little spikes or electrodes, and they were doing things. They were literally just like this, and I'm like, I'm getting ready to swallow that. So yeah, that's what made me think I was going to be in a sci-fi movie. Hey, anybody else would have had something to say. Nobody would have taken that pill like it was a white Tylenol or white aspirin and just, I don't see anybody doing it. It was moving, it was active, and I was about to swallow it. So yeah.
So took the capsule, swallowed the endoscopy capsule camera, and then we had to go to another hospital to do another procedure called the balloonoscopy. And the balloonoscopy is for
He wanted to do that to determine what?
To see if there was anything in the lower part of your intestines, because the camera he hadn't gotten the image yet off of it, because you had to pass the camera for him to get the image.
Hold on, I just thought about something. Was that to find the camera? Yeah, it just came to me. So it wasn't? Okay.
No, this was to also get a better look at your intestines, because the camera had not. He wanted to see if there was anything like in the wrapped up part of your intestines, just in case the camera didn't catch it. So you had to have a balloonoscopy.
Okay. So the balloonoscopy is what she's saying. I hope your voice
is balloonoscopy.
Okay.
And actually, when we did that, they didn't find
the bleeding ulcer that he thought. But that was one thing too, because he wanted them to also determine, so they did not confirm the bleeding ulcer that he originally thought he saw, as to why he was doing so much extra stuff.
Exactly.
So again, just to insert, to kind of fill in, actually I'm going to fill in a blank with everything I started and Smooch has followed up with. In the midst, after the procedure where I had the psychedelic camera capsule that I had to swallow, I had to, naturally I was supposed to pass this camera. So we all know what that means. I was supposed to release it naturally, and that wasn't happening. My doctor was like, oh, just let me know when you see it. So I'm always checking to see it, and won't be too graphic, but I never saw it. So I'm updating him. So then he started sending me to do imaging. I was getting imaging like every 1 to maybe 2-3 weeks. They were going in to see if maybe, I think the imaging was to determine if they did not see it, that would have meant possibly I passed it, and maybe I just didn't know I passed it. Mm-hmm. But every time I did imaging, it was still there. So then we're getting concerned. And I didn't think about it. I didn't even know much about it, how concerning it was to my doctor. I just kept following up. No, haven't passed it. Did the imaging, it's still there. Haven't passed it, did the imaging, it's still there. So do you remember what the importance was for him as to when he finally had to tell me? Like, I think he was waiting.
Because it's a camera and it's a battery in that camera. And if that camera is not retrieved or passes, then that battery can explode inside, like corrode, like any battery does. When it's left in something for so long. Exactly. So then it became very critical and important. We got to get this camera out. Come to find out, the camera was stuck in the lower part of her intestines, and it hadn't moved. I mean, we did imaging for like, what, 3 weeks straight? Like,
I did that imaging. It was kind of, I think it was a month, because that's when he got concerned. It was just too many, because I did those imagings quite a few times, which would have had to be. I did more than 3. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying 3, 4, past a month. Yeah. But either way, I didn't pass it. He got concerned because it was, I would say 4 weeks at least.
Mm-hmm. And it should have passed.
It should have passed. And then I had to go into an office visit, and that's when he told me his concern. And I'm like, you know what? I never thought of that. Like, you're just sending me over here to do this imaging and asking me, has it passed? And maybe just for the sake of not freaking me out, he didn't tell me the important part, which was, yeah, it's a camera. And it has the mechanism that it has, and it can start, the battery, it can start to deteriorate and cause more issues than the gastro issues you're having. So in my head, I freaked out. I didn't freak out, but in my head, I freaked out. And then we determined that I had to have
a laparoscopy procedure to go in and remove this camera that's now lodged in her intestines.
It was lodged, like this, and you take this, lodged, literally. So I just want to say quickly, I do have an image of it. We're going to keep on with the story, but I have an actual image of this capsule lodged into my intestine. It's not a very pretty sight. I've looked at it so many times, it's nothing to me. I'm thinking about posting it as an image. If I do decide, I'll give like a warning. Some people may not want to click to the next scene and look at it, but pretty graphic.
Yes. And so then we had to go see a general surgeon to now schedule a procedure to go and remove this camera. So then we got that surgery scheduled. They did a laparoscopy, which means they make 3 incisions, small incisions. For anybody that's not familiar with laparoscopy, it's one right in your belly button or right below your belly button, and then it's 2 more small incisions on either side, either right or left side, so they can put the instruments in and go in and do the procedure internally.
And what else did they decide to do while they were in there?
Also, they repaired her hernia. She had a hernia that she had from giving birth.
From giving birth
So
to
that
my
hernia,
second child.
yeah, her hernia had like 20 some years.
20 some years hernia.
So the general surgeon's like, well, while I'm in there, I might as well fix your hernia too. So it was a 2 for 1.
Let's go for it.
It was a 2 for 1. So then he removes this camera, the capsule, but of course he had to take pieces of her intestines.
But I don't think anybody knew that ahead of time.
Yeah,
I think we thought he was just going to go in there, find and retrieve the capsule.
Yeah, but the capsule was so large, and then he was worried about if he tried to grip it with some instruments to pull it out, it would have broken open. So he measured the beginning part of the capsule, took part of the intestines to get the capsule out. So,
as you all can see, I'm a squeamish somebody.
So it was such a crazy ordeal. I mean, it really was. I mean, you go from here to here, like what? End up having 3 procedures: the endoscopy to see the bleeding, and the colonoscopy to see then to swallow the capsule, then the balloonoscopy,
then the surgery. That's 4.
Okay. So yeah, so that was a lot. And we talk about all this is like in a matter of 30 days. This is like
35. Well, I don't know. I would say 2 months. Because remember, we was going back and forth with the imaging at least a month. So
Okay.
I would say about 6 weeks, maybe.
You
6, 8,
you spent a week in one hospital and a week in another hospital. So
I've never in my life been so hospitalized.
Yes. Yes.
Now remind you, for anybody, any of the subscribers, any of our family that's already watched, I had to determine that I had ulcers, so I had that going. I mean, it was just a series of things in and out of the hospital. I remember I had the iron infusions, I had the blood transfusion, so I'm surprised I'm even here talking about it today. But so it was a lot for me when he took the camera out. One thing about me, I'm really weird. I'm a thinker and I stay in my head. And with that, even going under anesthesia and coming out of it, my brain is so strong as far as thinking. I'm always thinking. I don't come out so loopy. I'm like, where am I? What happened? I come out still thinking and asking questions. So ironically, my silly behind asked the doctor, I don't know how I even knew to have this conversation with him, but I asked him, could I see it? And then it was even more weird that he had it on his phone. Like he was going to take it home and show his wife or something. Like, I don't know, maybe it was a medical phone, maybe it was a hospital phone, but he literally had it on the phone. And I was definitely, hazed in and out, like, and I looked at it and I was like, what is that? He's like, this is what I removed, young lady. And I'm like, huh? And I'm just like tripping. So again, how am I thinking? Just out of anesthesia, he comes in the room and I'm asking him, can I see it? And then I thought to grab my phone and ask him to take a picture of his phone. So that's how I have the actual image. It looks like a little chunk of a map. Like it's literally a little chunk of meat. Like, I don't really have anything. Literally like a little chunk of meat with the capsule sticking out of it. Again, I have an image of it. But that's how the camera got out of me. So this psychedelic camera, and I'm all excited, like, yay, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to be in a sci-fi movie. Took it, supposed to pass it, naturally didn't. And then we had to go through all of that. Yeah, anything you want to add?
It was just, it was just a up down ordeal. I mean, it really was.
Oh, I know what we haven't talked about. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but I know you're going to wrap up. We need to talk about this. And I know she was about to skip it. So when they told me I was having a laparoscopic procedure, that's okay. If you watch 1 and 2, y'all heard me say I like to call Smooch a doctor, right? She's been in the medical field for many years. She knows a lot. she's seen a lot of procedures, like literally sit-in surgeries. She knew exactly what it was. I knew by way of being around her and hearing her talk about laparoscopic surgeries a lot. Well, it wasn't until after the surgery, I got these wounds, as she described, in my navel and whatever other areas of my stomach. Really painful. My recovery time was kind of horrible for me because I'm a punk to pain. And then, I don't know, was it weeks later? Yeah, I wish y'all could see her face right now because she is dying laughing. It was weeks later. I'm like, wait a minute. How they get that big chunk of meat and capsule out of me? And she just fell out laughing because she knew. And she said, what she say? I was waiting on you to ask me. I was waiting on
you to ask me.
Because I'm like, I got these little bitty incisions. And then I just kept looking at the chunk of meat he took out, this big chunk of meat. And this little hole. How you take it out, Smooch?
One of the incisions, he had to make the incision a little bit longer and bigger, which was the one that took the longest to heal. That's where you had your most pain at. And he had to pull it through there. They have a way of putting a bag in there, and they can pull it and drop it in the bag and pull it through that incision. So that's why that particular incision was so much more sore as opposed to others, and took a little bit longer to heal because he had to extend it
so
in there.
Yeah, if I decide to really put the image on in the video, I'll show you and you'll see what I'm talking about. Laparoscopic procedures are like what, 2-inch incisions maybe, if that, 2-inch incisions. So then you do the dynamic mathematical equations to determine a chunk of meat that looks something like this coming out of a 2-inch hole. It don't fit. He basically 2-inch incision yanked out something out of my stomach. And that's where all that was really my incision that caused, yeah. And she just said, I was waiting on you to ask. Because I mean, I know he did what he did, and it's out. Great, I saw it. I got an image of it. It's out. Yay. I don't know. I guess I was still doped up on anesthesia days later. I'm like, how the hell he get that out of me? So, yeah. What else do we have to add to that horrific time for me?
Yeah, just the importance of when that doctor, get to the doctor. I mean, I said it in, I think, part 1 or 2, that you have to be your own advocate for yourself, and also just ask questions. I just say ask questions. If you don't understand it, ask for the doctor or whoever is in, nurse practitioner. Ask for them to dumbify down what they're saying, and just pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your body, and that's one of the biggest things I always say. Our bodies are like a car. It gives you warnings. We don't always take heed to those warnings, but when we know it's time to go, please go, please go. And us as people of color, we are just procrastinators when it comes to our health. But you have to, especially when you hit that 50 mark, you really have to get to those doctor's appointments and find out.
Or even anytime you just notice, that's a very good point when you hit that 40, 50 mark. But if you're 20 and 30 and you have those signs, that age is important, but age doesn't necessarily matter because you can have, illness at any age. So when you get those signs, something's knocking on your door, answer.